Little Miss Northie, she was at Coachella, honey, and she was seen hanging out with girls that are a lot older than her. And as such, a lot of critics were concerned for North. A lot of content creators, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, right across the board, there were so many people who were saying it seems as though there's no guidance available for this little girl. She is able to do whatever she wants, however she wants, and whenever she wants, right? Remember, Northie is just 12 years old, and she was spotted with a group of friends, including Sophie Tanjali, right? And Sophie is somewhere about 14 or 15. Sophie and Sophie's sister, right? Sophie is a social media personality who has been in North's circle at various high profile events, right? Now, because North was seen, with these older girls, and she was debuting a few edgy looks, to some people too edgy for a 12-year-old, she has made headlines. She had that goth-inspired look with the blue wavy hair, the platform boots, and what appeared to be a thigh dermal piercing. Yes, honey, a thigh dermal piercing. Now, these could also have been jewelry stickers, because we know that I saw her with a nose one and I thought it was actually nose piercing, but I later discovered that they were dermal stickers. So it is possible that what she has on her thighs are dermal stickers just the same. However, this is not quieting the chatter. As a matter of fact, the chatters are a lot louder, and critics, they understand Kanye's side. They realize that it seems as though Ye's hands are tied when it comes to his little girl, and it seems as though Ye's current status with the Jewish community is being used by Kim and Chris to manipulate him and to restrict him on having some say as he normally would in his child's life. And I think the critics might be correct, because most recently I came across a report and I did a video on it for you guys, wherein I spoke about it is alleged that Ye is saying he believes, allegedly, that Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner could be sabotaging him behind the scenes. And it kind of makes sense now, because I was like, you know what? I don't disbelieve anything that I hear about Kim and Chris, especially since this lawsuit that they have against Ray J. Anything that anyone says about them, like hell, I'm gonna believe it. So it could be the case that Ye's hands are just tied and he wants to be peaceful, because if he rebels, he's gonna be deemed as rebellious. He's gonna be dubbed as hateful, and he's gonna be dubbed as his medication needs to be adjusted. He needs higher dosage, because already they're using the media to say Bianca Censori, his wife, looks fizzled out. And I think Bianca has always looked good. I've never seen that woman with a bad day. So now that Ye is calm and they have the gall to say she's fizzled out, just imagine what they're going to do to her if Ye should really put down his foot. And not just that, Ye has to also save himself for his kids. So Ye has a lot on his plate, and the pressure is not coming towards Ye, it is coming towards Kim. So critics are like, what it is that Kim is doing? And I'm like, duh, can't you guys see she's done raising North? Remember that Kendall Jenner told us that By the time she was 16, her mama was done raising her a long time ago. She would be smoking weed in the backyard. She'll be having sex in the bedroom while her mama was in the house. And when Kendall spoke about that, Kris Jenner tried to polish it off as though we don't know she is notoriously known to be a pimp, right? So Kris Jenner tried to polish it off like, so where was I when all of this was taking place? And Kendall was like, duh, you were in the house. You didn't care. You were done raising us. So I'm like, don't you guys realize that Kim is the next Kris Jenner? Kim is done raising North. She's just beating her mother to the punch a few years early. Because remember, Kendall said that out loudly. And then we have Madam Kylie Jenner. We saw Kylie with Tyga when she was about 16, 17. At that time, many people did not know that Kylie was long moved out of there, okay? And Kylie got her breast augmentation and came back and said she had the flu. But many people are like, okay, girl, so does the flu give you a larger cup size? Because if that's the case, we're all gonna have to have the flu because we want our lady lumps to be like yours. And then we saw the lips, and then it just never turned back for Kylie. And then, if you remember, we have Chloe who shared that she had sex at the age of 14 and it was a horrible experience for her and it was with an older man. So North is 12. Kim is just beating Kris to the punch by a couple of years. So when critics are saying, you know what? What's going on with North? Who is gonna guide this little girl? Hello? Kim is done raising North. And you all need to pay attention. Maybe North has her own apartment somewhere and her own zip code. And we don't know. Because didn't we hear about the same thing with Jaden Smith? If you guys remember, right? Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith, they have a son, Jaden Smith. When Wendy Williams was on air, at that time, Jaden was almost 16. He was not 16 as yet. So I want you guys to stick a pin on that. He was not 16 as yet. And Jada was on Wendy and Jada was like, oh, Jaden is going to move out at the age of 16. And Wendy was like, 16? Ain't no way you ain't coming out of my house at the age of 16. You're going to stay upstairs. I'm going to stay downstairs. I'm going to give you your half of the fridge and your half of the kitchen. So I'm just saying that to say, right? This is how many of these celebrities, they operate. And this is why you find that so many kids who are rich and famous, who've had a good life, is caught up in the deep, dark realms of alcohol, gambling, drug addiction, the loose, kinky behavior. God forbid. We don't want that for little Northie, okay? God forbid, because that would have ruined Ye, right? No. Also, too, it really doesn't help that Ye had Bianca out here parading naked, right? But at the same time, we have to say this as well, because two things can be true. Bianca is her own grown woman. She should be able to wear whatever she wants to without getting judged for it, right? But people are going to still talk about it because people believe that Ye should set example. And the hypocrites believe that it is okay for Kim to dress like that because she's selling skims. But for Bianca, it is trashy and she's a bad example.